Oh my goodness, that's all we really need to do. Just claim it. Claim a blessing. Before you go out the door, before you get up in the morning, before you go to that meeting, before you talk to that person, before you make the phone call, claim a blessing. Claim a blessing each and every day, every moment of every day. So the absolute truth is that we are all given all the power. Each and every one of us is given the power, all the power in heaven and earth. That I'm a spiritual being. That's the truth. That I am a spiritual being, unlimited in every way. I am the presence of the Holy Spirit of life, love, and wisdom. But I want to be honest with you, I don't feel like that all the time. And I wrestle with that truth when things are not looking like I thought they would. Or when I look out into the world and I see the violence, the division, the hatred, and the suspicion of others, and the inability to come together as one. If we're all one, how come we have such an inability to come together as one? How come I have such an inability to see you as my brother and my sister, part of me, part of God, part of the universe? You are a holy and beautiful and perfect being. And it's easy when I look at Sam over here. I can see her smiling underneath that mask. It's just wonderful. And I experience that with all of you guys. But then there are times where I just feel that I'm being triggered. And maybe that is the blessing in disguise. Maybe I am getting to look at a place within me that still needs to be healed. Maybe that's the point that I'm still wrestling with the truth. Because I still have a reaction. Instead of being proactive in responding out of love, I'm having a reaction of fear. And that's what I want to talk about today. How we can shift that reaction of fear to one of extension of love. Because it's the same energy, it's just how I'm directing it. It's the same energy. We're using God energy in everything that we do, everything we say, and everything that we think and feel. How am I directing that energy? And so this is something I feel is a key point. It's a point where we can take back our power. We can see that which triggers us as a blessing. I'm going to claim the blessing that it is. I'm going to go within and find that place within me. It's pretty obvious most of the time. The place within me that still needs to be healed. Spirit is calling us to claim our power and our glory. God within me is guiding me, leading me, teaching me, loving me, and prospering me in every way possible. I hold the entire substance of God in my fingertips. Yeah, I got a bunch of slides. I made my own slides this week. Let's check them out, see what they look like. God within me is guiding me, leading me, teaching me, loving me, prospering me in every way. That's an affirmation. So let's say that together. God within me is guiding me, leading me, teaching me, loving me, prospering me in every way. Every way possible. Wow. That's happening right now? All the time? Amazing. What am I paying attention to? If I'm not paying attention to that, I'm giving all my power away. And it could be to whatever. And I just don't want to do that anymore. It's so much more fun to feel that God within me is guiding me, leading me, teaching me, loving me, prospering me in every way possible. So from our 4T class, where a lot of us are there's 12 of us, by the way, which is a very interesting number, right? 12 of us in the 4T prosperity class by Stretton Smith. And in that, he says, I hold the entire substance of God in my hands. I changed it to fingertips because of this slide. And because of Jess. Jess always says, I am God's hands and fingertips. And when you're healing, when you're really performing acts of spiritual healing, you can feel the energy flowing from your fingertips. I love that. So the entire substance of God is right here in my fingertips. Right here, waiting for you to use it, to activate it, to utilize it. It's in your fingertips, Jan. It's you. It's in you. It's right there. Wes and Paula know it. It's in their fingertips. The entire substance of God, not just a little bit. So the measure of it is, how am I employing divine law? This is what we talked about last week, was that we need to activate, employ divine law in our lives. And that's what allows us to release the fear and to extend the substance of the universe through us. Another way that we can look at this is from unity, the third principle. It's very important to remember that these principles are absolute truth. And I wrestle with these truths only because my limited experience tells me it can't possibly be true. But when I start to practice it, I realize, oh, maybe it is true. Then I have more experience to say, oh, I think it might be true. Then I have more experience. I go, you know what? This really is true. And I'm going to start practicing it more consistently. And then there is no question that it is true. So what does the third principle say? It says, human beings create their own experiences by the activity of their thinking. Thinking and feeling, because you're thinking with your heart. Everything in the manifest realm has its beginning in thought. Everything in the manifest realm. So that may cause you to expand your idea of what thought is. There's a lot of truths that we might wrestle with. One of them is, there is only love. We sing that song, right? We sing that song from Karen Drucker, there is only love. But when we see its opposite manifesting itself in the world so often, it's hard for us to believe there is only love. It's hard for us to believe that God is only good, everywhere present. It's hard for us to believe that everyone has a spark of divinity, because it's covered up with so much other stuff. But if we step back for a moment, use the fourth principle of connecting with God through prayer, then we will start to understand that these things are true. We need to start with ourselves. You know, Mahatma Gandhi said, first of all, this is what he really said. Please don't feed. This is a sign out in front of Mahatma Gandhi's house. Please do not feed the fears. Okay, the enemy is fear. It's never someone else. It's not someone out there. It's our own fear. It's actually our fear of that someone we think is out there. We think it's hate, but it's really fear. And that's a profound statement. If you go back to the beginning of where hate originates, it is always because we're afraid of someone or something. And then we develop a defense mechanism. And that defense mechanism can be sometimes turned into hate. And all of the problems of humanity is based in fear, is based in this idea of separation from one another, and therefore we're afraid of each other. If we can break through that threshold of fear within us, we are teaching others how to do it automatically. We will teach others how to do it in the classroom, in the church, in the spiritual center, in the university. We will teach others how to break through that fear at the psychologists, or everywhere that we employ ourselves. But the most important thing is that we break through that threshold of fear within us. Because vibrationally, I will be allowing you to do the same. I will be with you in a recognition of who you are. And that's forgiveness, my friends. That's going to lead us to something much deeper and much greater. So last week I shared something from Eric Butterworth, and I want to bring it back here today. That man is a thinking being. This is you. This is your mind in the universe. All the substance of the universe is within you. Man is a thinking being, and the mind is the connecting link between God or the universe and you. And I'm going to read it once again so that we don't forget that Jesus said that prayer is not a matter of words or outer forms. It is a matter of consciousness. He says here, Eric Butterworth, in Discover the Power Within You. It's a matter of consciousness. It's a matter of vibration, of raising your vibrational frequency. It's a matter of concentrated, rightly directed, spiritually oriented, positive thinking. The law is, as he thinketh in himself, so he is. And that's not just Christianity. The Buddha said the same thing. Watch what you think. Your thoughts are what you become. And so it's very important to recognize when we are having fear thoughts. You know, when we're angry, when we're feeling frustrated, when we're feeling hateful. Those are fear thoughts. When we're bringing up resentments, fear thoughts. Afraid of our finances, fear thoughts. Replace them. Replace those thoughts with the truth. Because all those fear thoughts are doing is putting you in a wrestling match with God. Who do you think's going to win that match, guys? You're in a wrestling match with the truth, with the absolute. You're in a wrestling match with all that is. And you're attempting to tell the universe or to tell God that you are not divine. So we know from centuries of experience and some highly creative, exhaustive modern studies the nature of thought. We know that thought comes more from the heart than it does from the brain. That thought is a vibration. It's a feeling. And when that feeling is one of connectedness, you are starting to have true thoughts. When that feeling is one of love, even for your enemy. Of course, your enemy is fear. But even for your perceived enemies, then you're starting to have real thoughts. When you feel compassion instead of anger towards those that you disagree with, you're starting to have real thoughts. When you stop judging others and you start to really have compassion for the projection of their anger, you're stopping that projection. You're saying, I'm not taking that on. I have compassion because I see that you are angry. I see that you have an intense desire to control others. It's not going to happen here. It stops right here. You can't control. You're not getting rent-free space up here, guys. I'm not giving it to you. Now, you pay the rent. How do you pay the rent? Love, compassion, connection, a common vibration, joining or coming to a common vibrational frequency. All of a sudden, hey, we are in the same space together. I'm going to not only allow you into my heart space, I'm inviting you. Come on in. I want to vibrate with you there because that's the real you. And when you're in your God self, when you're in your real powerful I am, knowing who you are, then I want to be there with you. You're going to remind me when I forget, and I'm going to remind you when you forget. Okay, so the next step is to remember that real thought is not a fearful reaction to life, but it's a rather a conscious, loving, intentional response. So there's three things going on. It's conscious. I'm making a decision to do it. It's loving. I'm making a decision to love. And it's intentional. I'm directing my focus on the choice to love you. I'm intentional in directing where that response is going. I'm intentional in directing my energy and sharing my energy. I'm intentional about who I share that energy with. I think it's really important because we want to love everyone, but we can't seem to do it close up sometimes. We can't seem to do it in this realm. So you have to do it at a distance. You have to do it in your prayer life. You have to do it in your meditation. You have to hold those that are at furthest distance from you in your mind, close to you in your mind. Not accepting any of the outward misidentification that they have about themselves, because that's going to reinforce your littleness as well. But reinforcing in your mind that we are all wonderful, beautiful creations of a loving source. And that all that you hope for that person is that they come to remember who they are. That they awaken to the truth of who they are. When I pray for people that I don't necessarily agree with, the thing, I don't pray for them to change, I pray for them to wake up. Yeah, the change will happen, and I don't know what needs to change or what needs to happen for you, but I know that waking up is my deepest necessity. That when I wake up to the truth of who I am, it's going to be manifest because my thoughts create the environment in which I live. So I love that we are conscious. We are responding consciously and lovingly and intentionally. The good news is that we never left heaven, my friends. That our only true environment is heaven. And we're still in heaven. We've just created this illusory world before our eyes. It's our interpretation of what is here and now. But only heaven exists here and now. There is only love in the universe. We have made a world of opposites. We have been wrestling with the truth. Now, I was told, I had a great Course in Miracles teacher that said, the way back to heaven is to bring your opposites together. Be responsible for both sides of it. Bring it together in your mind. And you're back. Welcome home. You're back in heaven. Oh, how do you like that? A lot of people are teaching non-duality, but it's just a response. It's a reaction to duality. No, I'm taking responsibility for the duality that I experience and that I manifest within my own mind, but I'm bringing it together. What did Jesus say? I'm the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. I make all things new. Wow, I'm back in the now because I'm the beginning and I'm the end. When I bring it here now, then perhaps I will experience, as Jesus did, that I am before Abraham was. I am before time started and after it's over. When you bring the Alpha and the Omega together, what happens? It disappears into one. And there is only now. And there is only you. You are the universe. Now you can say with conviction that I am the presence. I am the power. I am the Holy Spirit of life, love, and wisdom. Through the divine law, I am manifesting my world through that substance of pure love. But before that, you're not going to manifest anything but more fear, more duality, and more separation. If that's what your mind is focused on, and that's what you believe. And the truth doesn't need a whole lot of room to start to work its way into full realization in your mind. All you need to do is doubt your version of reality just a little bit. Doubt your version of reality just a little. Maybe what I see and think now is not the whole picture. That's all we need to do. Just give a little bit of doubt. And then the truth will begin to start to burn in your mind like a fire, a passionate fire of realization and awakening. And you realize, I am the most powerful. I am the power of God. That everything I've been saying about this thing I've called God is what I am. The highest reach of my mind in terms of what God is, what the universal mind contains, is what I am. My greatest imagination of how love can transform this planet is what I am. The most expanded spiritual thought I can think of is what I am. It's an experience. Whatever I called miracles in the past are simply natural occurrences to the mind awake. And when Buddha walked the earth and people asked him, are you a god? Are you an angel? Are you a prophet? What are you? He says, I am awake. I'm awake. I just woke up from this nightmare of separation. I woke up from this nightmare that we need to fight for our lives, that we need to sacrifice to sustain ourselves. I woke up from this nightmare that we are separate. I woke up to the fact that the whole universe is within me and connected to me. They in fact don't have a deity. They don't have God, this being called God. And that's why I like Buddhism so much, because all they're really concerned with is you. Is allowing you to be released from your suffering and to experience the connection with all life, to receive all forms of happiness, and to relinquish everything else, and relinquish all our attachments to those things we thought were going to bring us happiness. Our attachments to all those ways in which we thought we were going to gain power. All those attachments to our possessions, especially possessions of our thoughts and our ideas. To release those attachments is to release the fear. And that's why we're here today, to release our fear of the truth, to stop wrestling with the truth. We're remembering that which is, always was, and always will be. And the quickest way to remember heaven is here and now. The quickest way to remember heaven is to surrender to it, to feel it right here and right now. It's not some place I'm going, but it's some place. It's a awareness of perfect oneness. And it's here and now and everywhere that you are. The quickest way to remember heaven is to surrender, to give up the fight, to stop wrestling with the truth. Make a firm decision to work with the truth rather than wrestling with it. Now I'm using all that energy to work with it, to flow with it, to flow with the truth and embrace it, and to demonstrate it. And finally, to be the truth. That's the most fun in the world. It's when now you're walking around and you're just allowing the truth to flow through you. You are at a vibrational frequency where you have given over control of this physical manifestation to the Spirit. And boy, your health shoots through the roof, right? and your relationships are amazing, and your prosperity and abundance shoots through the roof. And the opportunities to share your light, they're everywhere. And the information that you need to expand your mind and your heart in the truth comes to you. And it's flooding into you and flowing through you. And the opportunities to heal and help others are coming to you. Don't miss any one of those. I want to tell a quick story to you guys. It happened to me last Sunday. It was a huge blessing in my life. We went on a walk last Sunday. I don't know, it was maybe 10 of us, 12 of us. John brought his grandson, Zachary, along. And Zachary walks a lot slower than most of us. He's got his own pace. And he's a kid, too. He's 13 years old. And he stops and he checks out the horseshoe crabs and all the things on the beach. And so I noticed the whole group was like going in this direction. And I turn around and Zachary's way back there, all by himself. So I walked back to meet him. And I spent some time with him. And it took me about 5 minutes, really, to slow down my vibration. I was walking and I was breathing and getting some exercise, and I had to slow down my body rhythm and slow down my mind a little bit to connect with Zach and listen to him. He has something called myotonic dystrophy. And so his physical system works differently than mine. But his spiritual system works the same. Okay? You got to realize this about everyone. So rather than go to him with how I was vibrating at the time, from my perspective, I wanted to enter into his perspective of things. So I just joined him, and he started talking to me about the horseshoe crabs, and we started picking up horseshoe crabs on the beach, and then we made a little sculpture of the horseshoe crab in a rock, and we did all these really fun things, and I just let him talk to me. I listened, but mostly what I was listening to was his spirit, his vibration. Yeah, he talked to me about school, and he talked to me about his new clothes, and he talked to me about a lot of different things. And what I got from that was this great, wonderful, loving vibration. And then he had to stop because his lower back was hurting him, and he was telling me about that. So I stopped, and we stretched together. Meanwhile, the crowd that we were walking with is way off in the distance, can't even see them anymore. So at that moment, I realized what a blessing I have been given to spend time with this being called Zachary. So this wonderful being and I were on the beach, and we were stretching our bodies and everything, and I said, maybe there's a path that we can walk back to the road to get off the sand, because he told me walking in the sand was slowing him down and it hurt his back. So immediately we just looked, and there was a path. There was a gate. So it was like he manifested that right in that moment. We hadn't noticed it until we needed it. So then there was the path, and we walked down the path. As we're walking down this path between the house and the tennis court, it's a nicely mowed lawn. It's a beautiful path. There's a gate at the other end. He says to me, maybe they made this path for people whose backs were hurting while they were walking on the beach. Absolutely. That's life, my friends. Living in the now. That path didn't even exist until that kid had a sore back. All of a sudden, the universe made that path for kids that had sore backs walking on the beach. And that's what life is presenting to each of us, each moment, is that it'll show up when we need it. It's already there in the universe. The whole substance of God is in my fingertips. But it will show up exactly when I need it. It'll be exactly perfect. And we don't need to worry about that. That will release a lot of our fears. It will be there when you need it. There's a lesson behind all of this. My lesson for that day was to slow down and to listen and join with someone who didn't look like me, who didn't walk at the same pace, who didn't talk at the same pace, and realize that there was a spiritual being speaking to me on a vibrational level of love. And I could receive that no matter what it was looking like here. So when you have any tendency to judge another for what they look like, or what they talk like, or how they present themselves in this world, remember that you can stop and listen to their spirit. You can stop wrestling with the truth in you when you see the truth in them. And that's all I'm going to leave you with today. Love one another, my friends. Remember, you're always blessed, so always be a blessing. I love you.
You have been watching the message from our Sunday celebration service here at Unity on Cape Cod, providing a positive path for spiritual living. Please join us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 147 Walton Ave, Hyannis, Mass., and visit us online at unityoncapecod.org. This video was made possible in part through a grant from Unity Worldwide Ministries and the Templeton Foundation.